Welcome back to the most professional StarCraft 2 with the rank 1 Terran in the world. In the red, it's Team Liquid's Clem. Facing off against Cyril's greatest stunt double, the Rocky Zerg in the blue. We have Solar in a best of 5 Terran versus Zerg tournament grand finals. And yes, we have a new balance patch, some new maps. The same way I'm begging you to smash that like button, maybe even subscribe. Help me count the algorithm. And Jimmy, what are we at? 1,731 likes on this video, on this cast, and I'll cast another one. And I'll probably do it anyways, because I don't know what else I'd do with my life. But thank you for watching. Hopefully, you've had a good day so far. And hopefully it's about to get just a little bit better than the first drones and lings as the Reaper comes across the map, gnawing their teeth on the destructible rocks there to block any sort of bunker rushes. But we're well past that phase. And actually, a drone slipping past the first Reaper will allow Solar to get his third base in a relatively timely fashion. Though, if Clem spots it, he will know that Zergling speed is a slight bit delayed. And if anyone was going to take advantage of that slight bit and somehow turn it into a bite, it's going to be Clem. Jumps into the main on the 1. Oh, I love that. Here on Throne of the Dunes, one of our map contest maps. Even a little, like, broken part of the edge where the Reaper jumps up. How thematic. But Reaper spots the third base timing, double checks it. Yep, that's pretty early. I think he saw it and didn't register the health bar. Came back. A double take even for the former world champion. And behind it. Now, will that prompt a Hellion run by? I feel like Terrans just run by with their Hellions like 10 to 20% of the time to keep Zergs honest. But for the most part, Zergs have no choice to keep themselves honest, as there's almost no way to really hide information unless you're somehow magically able to lure that Reaper in and kill it, which the Queens will always try to do and are rarely capable of. But 3 of them, the Queen's Guard bounces. He wants it, but the Brenda bounce puts them physically in the way of a potential run by, lays down a couple creep tumors. And I think the early aggression potential waning by the second. But a Liberator is the choice. No Banshee, no Cloak Banshee, no Speed Banshee this time around. But the Liberator instead, the cheapest option while still having deadly potential. And, well, 1 drone. Nice dodge there into a Spore Crawler. Solar making sure it can't be picked off so easily. Very aware of his vulnerabilities. Without Zergling speed, well, now Zergling speed is done, but he only has so many of them. So if the Hellions do choose to run by, well, he just has to hope he's in position to die. That Liberator has completed, flipping over already a reactor. Ah, that's going to be for the barracks. As Clem spools up the production, so far only able to work across the edges. 4 more Hellions coming out. 8 in total. This is a dangerous force to lead into the potential bioplay beyond it. Solar at only 48 drones, but he has a Spore Crawler in position and Queens right next to it. Now coming right up the center. Here we go. He's been waiting for this opportunity, but the Zergling count is damn high. The Queen's right behind it. Incinerates the tree alongside, but Clem not going to be deterred, incinerating more Zerglings. Down to 4. Queen gets on the ramp, goes towards the natural. Body blocking so far, great split out of Solar. And Clem was telegraphing this like it was 1888, but only 4 drones dead for 8 Hellions and a Reaper. Solar could tell he wanted it. Alright, he had more than enough Zerglings. He had the Queens in position, and Clem couldn't help himself. And now, Solar in a completely comfortable position to just drone up, and Clem actually, that's not a wall, right? Clem boldly going outside. What? It's like, well, no, you don't have a Banshee. There's no Banshee. What, is the Liberator dead? The Liberator died as well. Unceremoniously, off camera. Alright, looks like the actor couldn't pick up the next season, but... So, usually you'd have a Banshee back at home to defend, and that's how you could just take a third as Terran, and the Zerg can't really do anything about it. But when you go for a Liberator, and especially when you lose that Liberator, you lose the ability to easily drive back small amounts of Zerglings. So now Solar's already up to 65 drones. He's got the double upgrades right in line with Clem's 1-1. He's got a 4th hatchery nearly completed. And things are looking good for the Korean Zerg. But it's not like Clem has been slowed down economically. Make no mistake. All Solar has done is make sure he's in a stable position getting into the mid-game. But it is not something you can just jump into a victory from very easily. Hydraless Den is on the way. The choice for the mid-game brawler strategy of Hydra, Ling Bane. It cuts into your hive timing, but so does dying outright to Marines. Meanwhile, the Queen's gonna drive back the Marines for now. Clem building up back at home, continuing SCV production. He's got the armory on the way, as well as a second factory. So now, look at the upgrades on the right side. Combat shield, 1-1 across the board. Baneling speed is about 30 seconds out. Hydraless range has begun. But for now, Clem going to be rebuffed after taking out a few creep tumors, and Solar doing a great job of pushing the creep across the map. But the double-double. Some Widowmines will burrow. No dribbling claws, though I think he's going to be working for it momentarily. Another drop. The Queen's on their own to deal with this, but so far, plenty of energy to drive it back. And the Queen's going to try to target. Gets one. Meanwhile, the secondary drop, he's still keeping so much pressure on. The Frenchman gunning down the Queens one by one. A revolutionary tactic. But the Hydra's popping out, takes out the first one. Medevac, they'll expect one of us in the wreckage, brother. There was plenty of time. The Medevac's dropping into the main, but Solar still has 80 drones throughout this. Another Queen taken out. But with it, a Medevac. And even more, the Marines are going to be left behind as the Marines try to drop out. The survivors here, but the Queens should eventually be able to deal with this. Much better the Queens than the drones or even the large amount of Lings it would take. Finally, the Medevac is taken out. Another army on the field, but Solar's up 30 supply. He's deflected and destroyed the attempts at multitasking out of Clem. He has not rushed up the tech tree to Hive, but instead expanded outwards with the Hydras, Lings, and Banes, knowing he needs to crush this army on the field to have any chance of surviving to that Hive tech. Even a Predator drone. Let me in on the action. There's a drone hotkeyed in with the army, but you know what? If it works. Though, at some point, the Terran army, the M&M, the Marines, the Mines, and the Medevacs might be enough to, the cost efficiency gets absolutely ridiculous. But the Zerglings, drawing out the Widowmine hits, intentionally or otherwise. The Queens, double kill, and the Monarchy has been all but destroyed. 4 Queens remain, still going for the injects, but another drop to the north. Solar, boxing out on the south. And so far, where Solar once had a 30 supply lead, now they're dead even. 169 supply across the board. A very nice exchange so far. 17 more drones on the way. That will put Solar at a cool 100. Well, I think he just built a few more buildings, but it'll get close to it. This hatchery may go down, and honestly, that drone count might be a bit too high. 97 drones is where it'll cap out for now. Trying to draw it in. Widowmine shot drawn out. Another army to the north. Widowmine softening up the front line. The Marines and Marauders working forward. Hydralisks continue to be enough to hold the line, but Clem just started +3 attack. Something that Solar won't be able to match until he gets the Hive tech done, which he just has begun. Meanwhile, rolling into it. Marines and Marauders trying to target. Does he have concussive shells? He noticed just as I did. Concussive shells on the way as the Marauders start to be added in. Widowmine in place. Widowmines now burrow and unburrow 30% faster as of the last patch. The buff everyone was asking for, but the Hydras not caring too much about it, and the only Widowmine on the back line here. Gonna fall back. Meanwhile, Solar still holding strong, but that Widowmine takes out a big chunk. Medevac's forced to pick up and get out. A precarious position, but reinforcements are on the way. A few changelings, several mines left behind to the north. Solar is sitting on 5 bases, which is a good enough economy at this stage of the game. Hive is now completed. Infestor is taken out by a casual mine, but a second one! Are there any Banelings to follow up? The Fungals help to hold them down, but the Marines are able to get away for now. But the Hydralist count has grown dramatically. 23 Hydras on the field. 94 drones behind. Solar with the economy to back it up, and also tech at the same time. Lurker range is on the way, 5 lurkers in production, but Clem is not slouching when it comes to progressing his tech as well. 4 ghosts in production simultaneously. He's nearly maxed out. 195 supply across the board, but the Marines slip in. There wasn't vision over to the right side. Several drones in the hatchery to boot. The Widow Mine count growing dramatically as we get closer and closer to more Minecraft gameplay. The actual game that Microsoft cares about, but the ghosts on the front lines now. The thing is, the Hydraling Bane army, the ghosts are good, obviously. They have a bonus to the damage against everything but the Banes, but not as good as they would be if Solar had leaned further into lurkers. Pound for pound, though the ghosts are light units at 2 supply now, they're still very good to have. But Spot scans forward. I don't know if those were on hold fire. Rogue may be inspiring some players lately, but drones transferring, and now the worker count is pretty much even. 81 to 82 with Solar. Well, only going to have that edge for a little while longer. The lurkers in position. The creep spread has been cut down dramatically. It was extending almost over half the map, and now barely outside the bases, if at all. Meanwhile, taking out the mines from the high ground. The fancy little balconies here. Adrenal Glands is now completed, and a fungal catches an army on the field. 15 supply down, draws out a Widow Mine shot. Medivacs with nothing to heal, but the Marines slip in through the back. The vast majority of Solar's army is committed, but there's almost nothing to defend Clem's third. The SCVs are too late, and the Banelings roll into them. 15 SCVs dead, though Clem takes a hatchery in turn. The Widow Mine triggered on the Broodlings. Best case scenario there. Another shot. Draws some friendly fire in. Clem has 5 bases. Solar's still sitting on his. The incomes shooting back and forth as Clem loses both the mining and the SCVs from one of his bases. Planetary Fortress over to the 9 o'clock, but the ghosts in position. He actually has 14 of them. I don't know if there are any lurkers with the army, but the ghosts are falling back. I don't see any infestors nearby, but one's wandering down. The snipes. Planetary Fortress taken out almost as an afterthought. But another army to the north side. The ghost actually moves a little bit faster. Not because of the patch, but just unstim Marines. So many medevacs. 13 medevacs, but 0 liberators on the field. Medevacs can only do so much for you. And if there's one thing Solar doesn't have, it's reliable anti. The ghosts line up a salvo. The Vendaya scan over the top, making it almost impossible to tell what they're shooting at. I've always thought that animation is a little bit much, but Fungal, Widow Mine, splash damage across the board. And who took the worst end of things? Very hard to tell. This fight, Solar losing a little bit more overall, but he has more to back it up. A Serral Fester, but it doesn't have enough energy for a Fungal. The Zerglings trying to come around the corner. But with this much range support, are there the Hydras he needs? Another round of Banelings. Lunges forward. Banelings around the corner. The Infestor, 75 energy on the dot, now pops up. Knocked out immediately. The Widow Mines, though, kill everything nearby. Another round of Banelings is coming through. Lunges back. Solar grinds out a bit of a supply lead. Knocks out an Overseer. Hydras, Lings, and Banes around the corner. Some of the Marines and Marauders get behind the mineral line. A couple Lurkers try to hold it down, but not trying hard enough. 64, well, he managed to burrow some Lings underneath simultaneously. Meanwhile, Clem continuing to add more on. He's got another command center on the way, but he doesn't have so many command centers. He could just be scanning across the map simultaneously. An incredibly tense game to start, and no closer to a conclusion. Though Solar ventures a small counterattack, the Banelings closing in. Widow Mines managed to burrow, and that'll clean up most of the counter. Meanwhile, Hatchery, half HP, has another one over to the left side. Clem finally managed to land his command center at the 9 o'clock, though it's only an orbital command, so a precarious position at best. Another Shark Fester underneath. Things starting to slow down just a bit. He's scanned over top of himself, looking for the Infestor. Clem at 16 medevacs. Now, the medevacs for all policy might be popular, but at some point, it's just a bit too much. 32 army supply in medevacs. Well, if anything doesn't die immediately, it will immediately be healed up. The Changelings with it as well. but he just doesn't really have enough boots on the ground to crush forward. And that Infestor? Well, there's multiple Infestors. Snipes lined up. He's coming in again. The Infestor pops up. Widowmine takes it out. Just very depressing. It's like the third time that's happened this game. Another Infestor coming in. He spotted it. There's more Infestors. I mean, another one. The Widowmine's being drawn out. Clem's splash damage seems to be more effective than Solar's at taking out Clem's army. Some of the ghosts are left behind. Overseer taken out. Clem has the presence of mind to immediately cloak his ghosts the moment the Overseer's taken out. And with the cloak ghost, he's able to turn the fight entirely around. Half the ghosts were taken out by the Banelings, which are more effective against them. Another counterattack, but again, just grinding through one another. But still, both sides near 200. Overlords rallied out. Solar actually going to be awkwardly supply blocked under 200 here. There's the Widowmine behind, draws the shot in. Another one, big chunk of Zerglings. Ghost caught in front. Widowmine takes out its own medevac. 4 more Infestors on the way. But Solar just keeps replenishing his army. He's had a significant income lead for 5 minutes, and he's really starting to capitalize on it. He now has most of the bases on his side of the map, besides that one Clem's been repeatedly hitting down the center. Clem realizing that when he can no longer see his Marines under the medevacs, he may have overcommitted, and is now starting to add some Liberators into the mix. The Liberators over the top, gonna annex the base. The Queens are back! And the Hydra is gonna look to knock it down, but a lot of the drones are vulnerable. Several of them burrow, the rest, there's literally not enough space. The Hydra's committed. Another base, but the Lurkers are working their way to the north. And Clem, a couple ghosts caught out in front, a few more scrambling behind. Down to 5 ghosts. More snipes dealing with it for now. Liberators trying to knock out whatever. The Queens come around the corner, the ghosts light up their shots. Widowmines thin out some of the Zerglings, not nearly enough. There is an Infestor. Does Clem spot the Infestor sign, the worm sign? Unclear. This is Throne of the Dunes. Fungal is the mind killer. And the mind killer, well, not really. It takes like 7 of them. But he pops up, and this time finally lands one. Is it enough? The Hydras get up close and personal, and the Terrans fear such confrontation. Solar sweeps away. Wow. Well, he was looking on the other side. The army gets caught, and there's still 12 medevacs. Almost a quarter of his army supply. Half of his army supply is in Widowmines and medevacs, and most of the Widowmines are pretty much anywhere else. So when he loses this army, he actually has very few units to fight. 16 Marines and 1 Ghost against 22 Hydras. Solar kind of sweeps the leg, holds him down, knocks him out, takes game number 1. Clem, I think, stressed to the limit there. Solar, as Cyril's greatest stunt double, taking the punches and striking back hard. Not in the methodical, precise fashion that Cyril might, but instead just outlasting Clem, waiting until he finally made a critical mistake, let him keep building this kind of mediocre unit composition, and then knocking him out in the process. And that means we're going to game 2 on Mothership. What a game. Feels like from the moment the Hellions noticed, or honestly, from the moment the Reaper looked at that third hatchery and was like, wait a second, that's a late speed. The board was set. As so clearly, to both sides, Clem wanted to run by with the Hellions. All right? He was going to make, like, could see it in his eyes. All right, by the way he was moving those Hellions, Solar knew it as well. He handled it perfectly. Doesn't want to have too many of his drones getting char-broiled, if you would. So, Solar takes one over the number 1 Terran. A double Reaper build. Well, it doesn't have to be Reapers, but it is going to be Reapers. The double racks at the front. And luckily for Solar, since this is a 3-player map, he is going to be sending his first Overlord in the correct direction. Just random chance there, but... Interesting. A moment to breathe after one of the most intense. It just kind of ended too. Like going back and forth, the stakes being raised every time. And the reason it can end so dramatically is by the 18-minute mark, the first 3 bases pretty much are mined out. Maybe the third is still mining with a few patches, but you need those outlying bases. You're at the point of no return economically. And if you're going for like a turtle composition, like Ghosts and Liberators, or say Infestor Broodlord on the Zerg side, then losing 1 base is not critical. But those are high economy, high turnover rate compositions. The life expectancy of a Marine or a Zergling is not very high. So if you're not able to replace them, well, you're just gonna have to play another game. The Reaper jumps in. He bounced the drone, and it wasn't able to save itself. That's rough. First blood goes to Clem. Won't be last. Up. Queens. Getting bounced around. Solar, with a slower third, focused on getting the laying speed. And actually, Clem lifts up the racks to force the Overlord away from the Pervert Pillar. And then knocks it down, which will supply block him. And Brenda, run! I don't run. Okay, I tactically withdraw, Susan. No time for drawing! Run away! I can't with you. Sorry, I am... Backed out for a moment. 3 command centers. Zergling speed is done, and a suspiciously fast and hidden Roach Warren out of Solar. On a map that has the add-ons and half the production exposed. So he's also getting a second gas relatively early. Sorry, let me rephrase that. Better. This feels suspicious, which I already said, but I don't think it's a Roach all-in. But enough Sloaches to make Clem think twice and help deal with any early Hellions. That's 5 of them. 6. More is an all-in. He's at 35 drones. All-in it is. 8. The Queens. Toeing the line of the creep here. And both in the orange. The Roaches are popping out, though. The Queens will be saved, and here comes Solar. Once again, Clem did not go for a Banshee to start, which is, I mean, not surprising, considering. But Clem, 2 bunkers on the way, batten down the hatches. The Zerg are coming. And with no Banshee and no air support, well, the Banshee's on the way. It's still a long way out, though. There will be plenty of time to break through the front line here. Will Solar get enough damage done to either win the game or take a significant advantage? Or will Clem hold? Unleashes the corrosive vials. Gonna knock out the reactors. Knocking on the door. But there's only limited time. All right, the Ravagers working their way through, trying to snipe the SCVs on the back line, and Mr. Zergachev tear down this wall. But the wall itself will abandon ship. 2 bunkers done. Another scattering of corrosive bile will take out 1. The Banshee adding a lot of damage. The SCVs pulled off the line. Many of them starting to die. Shotgun blast of corrosive bile, knocking out so much of the economy. But the Ravagers are thinning out. The SCVs pulled back and forth. Clem manipulating them so they don't take too much fire. 17 SCVs dead is a whole lot of damage. But it's not critical. He has 3 command centers. He's only down 6 workers, and now there's Banshees in the sky. The last Ravager will be taken down, chased by the Hellions. The Hellions themselves. Clem marching across the map, but Solar actually just kept building Zerglings. He might be able to take out this ground army and punish Clem's overcommitment. Clem was just assuming that Solar would build drones behind this, but Solar, whether by accident or by intent, or maybe both, ended up building enough Zerglings in order to take out all but a few HP on a Hellion of the ground army. So that opens up a little more. Wait, catch him on the way back. The Hellion, the Zergling. Not enough. I think one more hit would have done it with the repair. I've seen some things. What did you see? They were like angry dogs. Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry. But 2 Banshees. And Solar with a Spire on the way. If he can get to Mutas, Solar reset the stim. He delayed the upgrades significantly, but of course he delayed his own upgrades even more dramatically. He's just now catching up economically. Because a Terran with 3 command centers, a mule is worth approximately 5 SCVs money. Each one. So, with 3 command centers, even being down 15 workers means that that mineral income is only marginally in Solar's favor, and only while he has those 3 bases. The Banshees coming in with the Queens. Not happy to see them. They actually built a 3rd Banshee to block out the other base. But through all the fire and fury, Solar has been able to stabilize. Clem has comfortably taken his 3rd. He's built up his production. And I will say, as a Zerg in this position, it's uncomfortable. You are reliant on knocking out the next push. And here's the thing. Clem doesn't even need to do well with the next push. He just needs to do okay. He needs to do enough to limit Solar's economy, because now Clem has the economy he needs. 61 SCVs. He has the production. He's got 1-1 on the way. Solar's just building his Evo chambers. So he must hold this attack, and the next, and the next. Bane speed is on the way. The Mutas are flying across the map. Will he come back to defend? I don't know if it's worth it. The Marines, even without combat shield. I don't think Clem forgot it. I think he just didn't have the tech labs. Goes in, completely catching him off guard. The Mutas might be enough to turn it around. The army's actually coming back home. Gonna save the tanks as well. Managed to get a turret up in the main. Could possibly intercept the medevacs. Coming around to the 3rd. And only killing a couple SCVs. So, Solar. Drilling Claw is now on the way. Was it enough? 2-2 has already begun. Clem knows his advantages now. If he just stays the course, he's ahead. If he tries a big attack and it doesn't work, that's how Solar drags himself back into this. Mutas can't attack into missile turrets, marines, and mines. They thrive on weak points, on gaps in the defenses. If there are no gaps, Thor. 2 Thors. No, back to 1 Thors on the way. Couple Widow Mines. I don't know why I thought there were 2 Thors. Get my reading glasses on. Marines getting caught. Solar trying not to waste the Banelings. Has quite a kerfuffle there to deal with it. Another 3 racks on the way. Clem going to the Octo racks. Full production, but the Mutas. A single Widow Mine in the corner. Because he's not going to sacrifice any, but the army's coming across the map. Solar has built up admirably. But the queens caught out in front. Clem has the supply lead. There are 67 Marines against 20 Mutas and 30 Zerglings. The Baneling count is pretty high. Solar managed to finish 1-1. The Mutas, for the most part, have stayed together. He's gonna need everything. And he needs to hit before Clem finishes his 2-2 upgrades. Otherwise, it might be for naught either way. Thor moving up. That backbone of the defense against the Mutalisks. 2-2 upgrades for Clem. He's maxed out. Oh, look at that spread. I can't believe it's not butter. Siege tanks, Widowmines moving forward. Trying to pick off, but Clem has enough Marines to cover every angle. Chasing down the Mutas. More Banelings coming up, but the siege tanks themselves taking the damage. Banelings rolling in. The Mutas looking for an opportunity, but denied at every turn. Marines out in front. The Banshees are still alive. Hellbat joined in. I think it's that one Hellion from earlier. He'll finally die on the same field it fought before. Some more queens. Banelings rolling through, but the Marines are far too much. The Mutas trying to get the damage done. Eats a Widowmine hit. GG. Solar unable to claw it back. The Mutas, not enough. He didn't get enough done with the initial attack. Clem knew his advantages, and he pressed them for all they're worth. The Clempire strikes back. It was a good attempt. I think there was a real chance. Solar was he wasn't very hasty. And on some occasions, it pays not to be hasty. But if he had had a little bit more motivation to break through early. So the reason you don't want that is you just want him to make a mistake. You want him to overcommit. I don't think Solar was anticipating the Banshee quite as quick. But if he knew the Banshee was on the way, you try to punch through and get in and break down the bunkers and get as much damage as you can. But he was held back for long enough that Clem was able to stabilize pretty easily. All right, Game 3. Old Republic. Following in the steps in almost exact map layout of Cloud Kingdom and Eternal Empire. Give you the most modern version, the Old Republic. All right. Solar has been doing kind of a mixed. He manipulates the amount of drones. It's a fancy way of saying just changes the amount of drones and gas, depending on whether he thinks he can take a quick third. So sometimes you just delay getting Zergling speed to have that extra 100 minerals to get the third base. Like 2 out of 3 gas. Does he rally it over? Yeah. Making sure he has those minerals when he needs them. Which is as soon as possible, obviously. Just like I need likes and subscribes. SCV scouts the timing. Did the drone spot it? Or is he just... he spotted it now. SCV there to block the third. Making sure Solar can't take it easily. Drone gonna take issue with it. I'm gonna play ring around the fancy little spiral thingy here, / indicator of where the base is supposed to be. But he's gonna physically block. So, because a gas geyser is slightly larger, it goes over the extractor refinery. It goes over the gas geyser. having a unit right next to it physically blocks it from building, which can keep you from saving the drone. Insect gas geyser. Hey. No. No, don't do it! Churlish, insubordinate! Brenda, stop. Yeah. The Zerglings just get in. We'll delay the fact... No, he didn't. Well, he came back to delay the reactor landing on the add-on, but actually missed that opportunity. Gets 2 SCVs. Clem lifted up his factory and barracks at the most inopportune time. But Solar didn't quite notice. The Zerglings actually get in, and... Well, they, Clem wasn't locked in here with him. Is how it ends up. Kills a couple SCVs, which is nice, but he cleans them up quickly. And now the Hellions are coming across the map. Armory is a Hellbat push. He's on 2 bases. This is an all-out Hellbat push. Things about to get hot and heavy. He did kill the initial Lings, which reduces the chances of this being scouted early. The Overlord is nowhere close to being there. So, there's another... Ah, wow, the fanciest pervert pillar. Right in the center. But seeing Hellions is no surprise. Like, Hellions and Reapers are a part of every imbalanced breakfast. The only thing that would give this away is the medevac. And the Queens. Just dueling with what they think is a normal push, but wait. Oh, no. Up close. Susan, is it getting hot in here? Yes, they're gonna take out all our drones, Brenda. Now run! So, 4 queens, but with no energy for transfuse, tries to take out the medevac. 1 queen incinerated. Another one about to be immolated. The economy ready to be cauterized. And, well, this game looking more one-sided than a Mobius strip right now as Clem just walks up, burninates across the countryside, claims 2 Gs, refuses to elaborate further, and we're headed to match point. Solar just kind of dies, begging the question of why we don't do that more often, but I don't even know exactly why that went so well. I guess the slight delay, he had no energy for transfuse. If you know it's coming, then you save up energy, you consolidate the queens. But that felt, just trust me, all right? That's not something you can do every game. Somehow Clem made it look absolutely overpowered there, but now we go to Andromeda. Which, with those fancy tactical jumps, I guess we can get to another galaxy that easily. Well, Solar just kind of dies. Just hopefully not foreshadowing, but... This time around, Clem picking a very strong early 2 base. Because Solar has been cutting a few corners. And sometimes that leaves you without an edge. Hatch first. Also one of the most... That is one of the most macro-oriented maps of the kind of expanded map pool. Literally... Clearly a spiritual successor to some of the most late-game, like, easy-to-defend 4-base maps. Kind of a strategical move out of Clem, which shouldn't be surprising, considering he's literally the best Terran in the world, and arguably one of the best Protoss as well. Yeah, but is he going to be a real player until he plays Zerg? Why would he inflict that upon himself? We occasionally get the, like, Raynor versus Clem reverse race. I believe Raynor took the last one as Terran against Clem Zerg. But you can check that out from a couple months ago. Well, I had no filler commentary for this. There wasn't much to expand on besides Clem just killing him with a Hellbat timing, which I held back on being disapproving of, because when Clem does Hellbat timings, they look good. When anybody else does them, they look like, why are you throwing the game? But that full commitment. The pervert... Hey! He doesn't even bother with the pervert pillar. He's trying to sneak around. The Overlord, well... What? Why are you like this? Overlord somehow outmaneuvers the Marines, slaloming like a professional skier in a whale suit. Hey. Oh, that's just your moment. I don't... Somehow escapes over to the literal space. Apparently we're above a planet here, some sort of asteroid. Actually looks really cool. Love the detail. The parts of the map that pro gamers will literally never see, partially because of their graphics settings and partially because they'll never spend more than... Like, let's go to the Clem cam. Literally microing his SCVs onto the close patches at both bases to get that single-digit % mineral boost. The Zerglings trying to claw at the Reaper, but that is a very quick lair. That is a very quick lair out of Solar. It's gonna be done in 4 minutes. Did he spot it? Clem did not see it. The third base isn't late by any means. Banshee's speed is on the way. The Hyper She's. But it's just an all-out Nydus. A Nydus all-in. All-out, all-in. Oh, the triple Brenda bounce. The creep spread. So Solar's trying to sell it with the creep spread. He has 34 drones. He's sending some of his drones to the third. Like, look, I'm macroing. But, well, the Zerglings are actually just heading in. There's only 2 Hellions here to defend. Clem in the midst. He had Marines spotting the edge of his base. But Solar drew him in with the Zerglings, and now the Nydus. What he doesn't know can very much kill him. The Queen's gonna pile into the Nydus network. And Clem, the bait and switch. Oh, it's time. He's sending the Marines back, but it's already too late. We've arrived! Everything the creep touches is our domain, Susan. Get to spread it. Okay, Brenda, wow. And he's going, if he was going for Cloak, I don't think it'd be better, but Hyperflight Rotors is done. Slapping down the Tech Lab. The Zerglings at the Natural. The Queen's pretty much the only unit here. But, well, wait a second. The SCVs are pulled off the line. And there's really only Banshees and Hellions, neither of which are great against Queens. And now the Queens have turned this into a Zerg base. The creep is spreading across the field. The units are being slaughtered the moment they come out of the production facilities. There's more than enough energy this time, Clem. The boys are pulled. The Banshees are almost too fast for their own good. He's trying to repair them, but the SCVs are really struggling. Clem is running out of money as well. The Queens are marching down from the high ground. Take out the reactor. Take out the depots. The Zerglings are tearing apart the Terran buildings. And the transfuse is coming through. A Liberator siege is up. Banshee taken down. And the Queens will reign supreme. Well, that Liberator actually is out healing everything here. But he's building a spine crawler in the main. And Clem, with his main base taken out from under him. The beauty of it is he knew that was a possibility. If he had the Marines in position, then very likely this would have been either mitigated or completely shut down. But Solar came in literally the perfect timing with just enough Zerglings. Clem panicked. He pulled away the Marines. And by the time they came back, it was too late. A beautiful cheese out of Solar. One of the sharpest I've seen in a while. Well, for about one game, since Clem just did that Hellbat all-in. But, and that brings us to Game 5. Solar. Bringing the #1 champion to the limit. And maybe beyond. As we go into satellite years. So, we've seen the full-on macro brawl. We've seen some delectable cheeses. In fact, 3 games in a row of cheese. Solar did the roach all-in. That didn't get enough done. Clem, a full-on Hellbat all-in. And then Solar strikes back with the game-ending Nydus. Now, the conclusion on this episode of Welcome back to some professional StarCraft 2. This map, another one of our very macro maps. We've already seen a surprising amount of games. Players seem... This is one of the most inoffensive of the expanded map pool. Seems like players have settled on it as a relatively safe map. It'll be interesting to see. We don't yet have the results of the map contest, but the top 2 that you guys voted on, you guys voted totally, right? But will be in the latter map pool, which means they are pretty much guaranteed to be in tournaments. Though community organizers have expanded the map pool with a lot of the map contest stuff, the finalists, which I feel is something we should have been doing for years, including satellite years, but better late than never, right? What a topsy-turvy series. The beauty of it is it wasn't... Now, Clem's all-in completely blindsided Solar. He was not anywhere close to ready for it. Whereas Clem was almost anticipating that level of aggression out of Solar. But it still worked because of how well executed it was. Reaper dancing with the Zerglings until the Queen comes and puts a stomp to it. Or at least discourages the Reaper for a while. That's really most of what it does. Starport on the way. The Destiny Cloud Fizz build with the Barracks Factory Starport once again. Will we just go for the good old-fashioned Cloak Banshee this time? I don't think we've seen a single straight-up Cloak build. The Hyper Shees, the Speed Banshees have seemed to gain a little popularity since the buff of the patch. Now upgrading 20 seconds quicker than they did before, but they're still pretty expensive and have some clear weaknesses, like how if they actually get into range of the Queens, they can shoot at them easily. Not that that would have mattered too much last game, I don't think, but no, it's going to be a Liberator. And an armory on the way. Hellbat man, looking to make another cameo appearance. A Hellion Reaper. Sneaking around the side, bounces a Queen. But, so this is he just gonna walk up with Hellbats? The Medivac is what really ties it all together, because somehow, through some weird biomechanical processes, the Hellion becomes a biological unit that can be healed by the Medivac, but only in Hellbat mode. Tried to fake out Solar with the Tech Lab Starport. I don't think it's gonna work there. Liberator. The Spore Crawler just started, not anticipating the Liberator at all. And it will siege up and have plenty of it. Oh no, the Hellbat's marching up and the drones abandoned. 4 of them dead already and the rest. Now the Hellbat's out in front of the Queens, much more ready to hold the line. Another Queen almost gets picked off. Knocks out one Hellbat. Swinging around. The Liberator re-sieging. Get your toes out of there. The Spore Crawler in position. Micros away, but the drones in the line of fire. But the Hellbat's not able to get much. Siege is up again. Gonna kill a couple more drones. Playing a ring around the hatchery. But wait, there's more. The Hellbat's at point blank range. Gonna take out yet another Queen. No, what a save.
What a save!
As the drone's coming up. 6 drones dead. He's buying so much time for everything else back at home as well. 52 drones left. Solar's been building them as fast as he's been losing them. But he's lost so much mining time. Does Clem have a 3rd command center? He does. It's done at the natural. Just now starting the orbital. Somehow the Reaper is the last unit to survive. Get off my creep! Kind of a hollow victory, don't you think? Shut up, Susan! Shut up! Sorry. Back down for him. Solar. Banged up, bruised, but not broken. Not beaten. As he still has the economy, he still has the Queens. He maintained a solid worker count throughout, despite the losses. It's not good. But Clem did not have a quick 3rd command center. He did not have quick upgrades. He wasn't exactly speeding up the production lines. He's just now adding on barracks 4 and 5. So there's a real opportunity here for Solar to do what looks to be a mass roach all-in. That 200 supply roach Ravager. 66 drones. Full 3-base saturation. And now pumping out the roaches alongside 1-1. So Solar has held it together. The Rocky Zerg rolling with the punches. And it looks like he's figured out how he wants to punch back. Marines trying to come forward. Roaches. Roach count far too high for that, but Solar a little supply block. Overlord's popping out. Second factory on the way. Especially as Clem realizes siege tanks might be the ideal unit for the agenda. Meanwhile, double drop heads for the main. 1-1 about to complete Clem. Keeping the Roach Ravager busy for now, but honestly, Solar's not going to want to really move out until 1-1's finishing and he has the max amount of units. Bunkers on the way. Clem taking this very seriously. I think he's realized exactly what Solar wants to do. More Ravagers, more Lings, more Roaches. More. As the creep starts to extend across the map. The bunkers will be complete. 3 bunkers on the way. 184 to 147 supply. Clem prepares for the assault, and Solar is ready to unleash it. Here we go. The roaches arcing around. 1-1 just now completed. Corrosive bow spewed out across the board. Knocks out another one. Going for more. And he's caught between a little bit of a rock and a hard place. The Marine standing their ground. 10 SCVs dead. Pops out of the bunker before it's taken out. The bio count. Clem has units caught on the high ground. The siege tanks, he raised the depots and half of his army is stuck. And that very much could tilt the scales in this fight. It goes from a Pyrrhic victory maybe for Solar to a potential crushing defeat, but like 20 supply, 2 siege tanks, a Marauder, and 10 Marines were on the high ground because of the supply depots. He closed the borders so the Zerg wouldn't get in, but the Terrans couldn't get out. And now Solar, look at the supply on the field. 2-2's on the way for Clem, but until it's done, knocks out one of the tanks. Another wave of corrosive bow, but the medevac count is so damn high. The Ravager's starting to be targeted. Eventually takes out the tank. The Marines are thinning, but so are the Ravagers. Without the Ravagers, the sheer DPS density of the Bio Ball is so damn high. Another round coming through as Solar trying to break the siege tanks. The medevacs are actually nearly out of energy here. Now he's starting to chase it down. Corrosive Bile. Not enough. Concussive Shells now completed. Chasing down the Ravagers and on the open field. Solar starting to struggle. Turning it around, microing against individual Ravagers. Clem lost some SCVs, but he's got the 2-2 upgrades on the way. The reinforcements continuing across the map. With those upgrades done, and a similar army supply, the medevac's regaining energy. Solar can't let him reset, rebuild. 2 tanks caught. He actually picks one up, moves it around so it doesn't get sniped off by the corrosive bile. In the mineral line, more tanks, +2 weapons done. Solar trying to break the last line of defense, but Clem's reinforcements are overrunning the field, tearing apart the roaches and ravagers, and GG! Clem takes game number 5, and with it, the series. A back and forth, topsy-turvy exchange. But the kid is all right. And he's able to hold on. Touch and go for a while there. The back and forth. Some very close macro games and some very not close non-macro games. But quite a dynamic spread. And I hope you enjoyed as much as I did. Thank you for watching. I hope I made your day a little bit better. If you got the means and motivation, it'd be awesome to check out Patreon or YouTube membership. But I hear liking and subscribing is still free, at least for now. Thank you to our meal tier patrons bringing in the extra minerals. Big Jiggy, Devin Door, Drag, Kate, Mario, Suit, and to everyone. Glad you still enjoy. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time. Good luck, have fun. Stay chill.